Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhail, and today we are back for yet another Misfits Racing League broadcast. It is the Chinese Grand Prix for the Americas division. I am joined, as always, by my fellow countryman Stars. Stars, how you doing today, mate?
Mikhail, thank you for having me, mate. I'm doing very well. Looking forward to this race. Should be a cracker.
Yes, it should be. So we'll be going to the Shanghai International Circuit now on your screens. 5.4 kilometers, 3.4 miles, 16 turns, and some very, very tricky corners, doesn't it, Stars?
Very much so, Mikhail. I mean, you just got to look at turn one, turn two. But yeah, realistically, it's going to take the drivers a lot of skill to get through this circuit. That's for sure. Keeping it clean.
Yep, so we'll just have a quick look at the calendar. Of course, just before we do, just want to thank our partners over at Next Level Racing, exclamation mark NLR in the chat. They've got some great sim rigs there. You should definitely check them out. Link there down below. And with that command, but we've already gone through the first three rounds, Australia, Bahrain, and Vietnam. We're now here for the Chinese Grand Prix, and then we'll be heading off to Europe for Zandvoort, around the Netherlands. Spain, Monaco, and Baku, followed by Canada, France, Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil, and last but certainly not least, Abu Dhabi. And before we jump right into the lobby, we'll just have a quick look at how the standings are looking for the drivers on this grid. So Becky B, after missing the race last week in Vietnam, still holds the championship lead with 51 points. However, the AlphaTauri of S King, the Chilean, there also sitting on 51 points. So those two tied out, and we will see how those two fare around the Shanghai International Circuit this evening. Rhapsody there on the Mercedes, currently in third with 39 points. BTFU in fourth with 28. Yamamoto in fifth with 26. Aphrodite with 22 points in sixth. Maxime B in seventh with 12 points. Angel with 8 points there in eighth. Axis as well also has 8 points as well, so those two will be having it out in a good battle for sure. And then Tactical Logic will round off the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, and in the Constructors' Championship, AlphaTauri leading away with 2 points at the moment ahead of Williams, and then there is a large gap back to Mercedes in third place. And with that, Stars, I do believe we are almost ready to go racing.
Very much so, Mikhail. I think we're just getting all the drivers in. I think we're just waiting on one more, and then we'll be readying up. We're getting into it. We should good to go any moment now. I think they're all readying up. So any second now we'll be live and see these boys out on track.
Yes, very much looking forward to this one. Shanghai, quite a difficult circuit. Has some very, very slow corners and very, very technical sections of the track, but well, we should be getting underway shortly. Just gotta fix up a few things before we go.
So Macau, Shanghai, the Chinese Grand Prix, 5.4 kilometers, 16 turns. Do you find it an easy circuit to drive yourself, or do you seem to struggle?
Uh, it's a strange one for me, Stars. You've got the slow sections there of well, turns 1 through to 4, and then you also have the very important exit out of turns 12 and 13 for the kilometer-long back straight. But I find it personally quite a nice track to drive. Definitely one of Herman Tilke's more liked circuits, if you're going to put it that way. Probably not as, on terms of the levels of Bahrain and Malaysia, but I still find it quite enjoyable from time to time. I don't know. What about yourself?
I tend to enjoy it. I think the turn one, turn two complex, basically 270-degree right-hander there, and then trying to straighten the car up for turn three, very, very tricky. Done well or done correctly, it's beautiful. Feels very nice on the car. Obviously, you got that run down to turn 11, again for that double right-hander of turn 12 and turn 13. And then obviously, the iconic kilometer-long straight down the back, where the drives are just there basically by themselves. There's no one around, hardly any spectators on either side. It's just, I think realistically, historically, it's shown us in real life F1 some great battles. I'm hoping today it'll be the same. Obviously, Tier 3 was awesome this morning, or last night, or this evening, I should say, depending on where you are. It was this morning for me. Um, but yeah, it should be great. I've also just got confirmation as well for quali and the race. It will be nice and sunny, clear blue skies. Today's drivers.
Yes, Shanghai does have quite a high chance for rain, but as you're saying, that nice, clear blue skies there ahead of the drivers for this qualifying session and the race, so no weather shenanigans to play a part in it. So hopefully that means we'll be able to see lots of overtakes down that long back straight with the assistance of that drag reduction system. But enough about that. It will be Angel in the racing point on those yellow stripe medium compound tires, out first on track to set his first lap of the session. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Misfits Racing League coverage of, the Americas division around the Shanghai International Circuit for round 4. My name's Mikhail. Joining me is Stars, and you've arrived just in time as qualifying is about to get underway.
I'm hoping Angel here really steps up this week. He's had a couple of, for him, I know he was saying the other week to me that he hasn't been happy with his results. I think he sits actually P8 in the championship. Quali predictions as well. People say he's quick around here, but we're going to have to wait and see, I guess.
He's making his way through the final couple of corners now. We'll now jump on board with the Racing Point driver, the Mexican, to take us around a lap, Stars, if you please, around the Shanghai International Circuit.
Love to, Macau. You can see Angel takes it all the way to the left side as he whips the car in for that double right-hand corner of turn 1 and turn 2. Like I said, the 270-degree corner here, very, very hard to do correctly. He does that quite well, does bring the car in for turn 3, tries to keep it as hug to the left as he physically can through turn 4, lets the car drift out wide through turn 5. The little kink there into the heavy braking zone, pretty much just after the 100-meter board. You do want to miss that first apex because it does open up that corner quite well. He actually did take that not too badly there, so up through the gears again, all the way into turn 7. Again, a very, very tricky complex of the track here, all the way through turn 8 as well. It does go down to the 5th gear. Is probably the ideal gear option. Now comes through turn 9 and through turn 10, wanted to take the car all the way out there. He doesn't use all that green AstroTurf, but that is okay as the car goes all the way up to about 300 kilometers an hour before the heavy braking zone of turn 11 whips the car in, turn left, turn and then turn right. Obviously this is a very tricky part of the track there, and he does actually lose it. He has a big tank up, and again that's twice, so he's probably going to be avoiding this lap here. Probably just finish it though anyway, but there it is. So he has finished that lap there, unfortunately, so it's going to be come back into the pits, but yeah, you can just see through that through turn 12, turn 13, you want to have the car as stable as you can, but you also don't want to compromise straight line speed. So I think he's gone for more of a straight line speed setup. So unfortunately for Angel there, he's going to come back into the pits and go again.
Yeah, we'll just run on board with the Haas behind him, Axis, as he makes his way through the final corner, turn 16, the 90-degree left-hand. What will the first time be? It will be a 1 minute 31.275 on the medium compound tyres. Not a bad start there for the Haas driver.
No, not at all, as Rhapsody picks him off nearly a second quicker, 9/10 quicker on the soft tyres. Obviously that's the difference in comparison. I do believe these drivers are going to be going a lot quicker though. A couple of invalidations coming through. People still wanting to set laps though, so yeah, Rhapsody, a really good bank of by him there. Again, he's put himself all the way up in the top flight in qualifying as he normally does.
We'll now ride on board with the AlphaTauri BTFU as he makes his way down the long back straight into the hard braking zone of turn 14. Probably the best passing opportunity on the track, but as we've seen in real life and seasons gone by as well, it can be the cause for some incidents. The BTFU on his first flying lap on the soft compound tyres, he actually runs extremely wide, invalidating his lap, but it would have been a 1 minute 29.5, so it would have definitely been good enough for a provisional pole. But I think the word on the street, Stars, is that most of these guys want to be starting on the medium compound tyres, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are right, Macau. Medium to hard potentially could be the strat here. The soft tyres just die too quickly. I know that, you know that. It's just not a great tyre unless you can qualify as like, you know, top 3. Maybe you can build that gap early on in the first stint. But yeah, I think the medium hard is definitely preferred by most.
We're now right on board with Angel's teammate Wed, the reserve driver, fill in for Simply, I do believe, in that other racing point. As he comes across the line, it will be a 1 minute 32.415 on the soft compound tyres. So probably not the most representative time, but yeah, we'll see how things shape up in, as the session continues. I do believe that Max Senna and the Red Bull is also on a lap, making his way through the hairpin as of now. We'll see what he's able to do, Stars.
Yeah, hopefully he comes into that 90-degree left-hander of turn 16, takes the car nice and wide, nearly an invalidation, but holds it in there. Does put himself into P4, 131.7, so a 5/10 off axis there on the same compounded tyre, so he's going to be wanting to improve that. Just on a quick flying note, that a lot of the top runners, including Becky B, our championship leader, and his teammate Yamamoto, both invalidated their first lap, so a lot of drivers struggling out there with only 11 minutes 50 seconds on the clock. We've only got 5 times on the board.
Yeah, it's not something we're used to seeing, at least compared to the first opening rounds of the championship, as Aphrodite in that Renault, the banana boat car there, coming across the line with a 1 minute 30.941, so only 200ths off Larkino there, but he's on the medium compound tyres, Stars, so not a bad time at all from the Renault driver.
He'll be very happy with that. I do predict he'll probably be, you know, if he doesn't improve, I think he's probably going to be finishing around that P8, P9, P10 mark, so could be a lap you might just want to keep.
Have a look at...
I do believe our next driver on a lap is it the Red Bull of Cappy? He's on an out lap, to apologise.
I actually think that it would be Arnhel going again on a soft compound tyre. Unfortunately, on the stream we do have a little bit of a rev bug with the Racing Point driver, but he is still flying nonetheless. Might actually skip on back just to save the viewers' ears. Back to Rhapsody in that Mercedes, currently on provisional pole. He's out yet again on another set of soft compound tyres, so probably just getting a feel for the track, because I'm sure he can go faster than a 1 minute 30.3, but then again, what do I know? We'll see what times come across the board now. We'll just have
Arnhel managed to keep it together through turn 12 and turn 13, but he did actually lose it out of turn 14, getting on the power there. But this is obviously going to be a massive improvement because he doesn't have a time on the board here. As he does cross the line, he does go provisional pole, 129.9. Very quick time there by Arnhel.
Yeah, very, very nice effort there from the Racing Point driver. Definitely has some ground to make up compared to his rivals. We'll now jump onto on board with Cappy, as I do believe Holtz came across the line in 5th place with a 1 minute 31.060 in that Alfa Romeo, so a solid effort from him. But Cappy, also on those soft compound tyres, making his way through turns 11 and 12 now. You can just see he has to really be careful with both the steering and the throttle as he makes his way around the long right hand, or double right-hander technically. Down the long straight now, Stars.
Yeah, he seems to be fighting the car a little bit through the majority of this lap, but he has kept it together. He will be getting an improvement on his time because he hasn't set one again, like 3/4 of the field here. Does miss his braking zone a little bit there. Does run a little bit wide on exit. Hopefully sets himself up nicely for turn 16. He goes down to 3rd gear there. I think that's a little bit of a mistake there, a bit nervous coming through. Obviously just wanted to put a lap in. Does do a 131 flat. He's not going to be happy with that one there. He'll be going out again with a couple of minutes left to hopefully improve.
Looks like Becky B has already invalidated his latest run. But Yamamoto in the Williams, Becky's teammate, only 2 points behind in the Constructors Championship as well. He is now on his first flying lap attempt, and he is also on the medium compound tyre, Stars. So if our predictions with the strategy are correct, this will probably be the time that he will stick with. So let's see what he's able to do.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. I think most drivers are going to be doing a medium run about now and then do a soft run later in the session and obviously abort it if they need to right at the end. But yeah, I definitely think mediums are the way to go. Just in front of him, there is Striffim as well, who is about to set his first flying lap of the session as well. So we should have two quick times coming in, hopefully.
We'll jump on board with Striffim as he makes his way through the last couple of corners now. We'll see what he's able to do. He actually runs wide on the exit. It would have been a 31.3. That would have been good enough for 8th place at the moment. Unfortunately, will not be setting a time just yet.
Oh, Becky B also invalidates again, so that's 2 runs now. He's invalidated. Yeah, he's not going to be one happy chappy after that. He did it on the exit of turn 16, so he needs to do a full another lap now. So As we jump back on board with Yamamoto on those medium compound tyres, he's going to be wanting to set a strong lap right now as he crosses the line. Does go into P3, a 1:30.8. He's going to be very happy with that lap. I think he's going to be sticking with that one as well.
Not a bad showing there from the Mexican. 1:30.8, good enough for third place, but I think that also puts into perspective just how good Aphrodite's lap was a few moments ago, because he is only, what is that, 600ths? Half a tenth, more or less, about behind the Williams driver, so not a bad effort from the Renault at all. So we do have a few more cars out on track as we speak. Looks like the McLaren boys are doing a bit of a tow there. Sejos on the long back straight, Maxime B right in front of him, getting a little bit of a slipstream there. Let's see what the top speed is heading into the braking zone. Looks like it is 332 kilometers an hour, down into first gear, all the way down into 65 k's an hour. So you're going to see how hard of a braking zone that hairpin actually is. We'll see what he's able to do as he comes across the line now. What's the time going to be? A 1:31.866. That's good enough for 11th place at the moment. And I dare say, Stars, that Maxime will be receiving a tow, much like his teammate did in a few moments' time.
I think you're exactly right. Just while we're waiting on that to happen, just a few little points I want to mention. We've got our two championship rivals, first and second in the drivers' championship, both invalidations on both runs. So there is pressure on. They have a one-shot quali now. It all comes down to the last couple of minutes, so it's going to be heating up very nicely towards the end.
We have one of the Mercedes coming across. Would that be Gorzieg? No. It would be Rhapsody starting his next attempt. 5.5 minutes left in the session. There's still plenty of time to set a lap, but the time is slowly ticking down, Stars. They have to at least start thinking about that timer, especially all these guys who are yet to set laps.
8 drivers, Macau, that is just unheard of. Unheard of, I'm telling you. This is a first in MRL. Hopefully these guys can get out there and at least set a lap on. You know, realistically, all you're going to do is set a lap and you're going to be starting just outside the top 10 if everyone else invalidates again.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for all these drivers to put on their one medium run. Of course, they do only get one set of medium compound tyres, and I think a lot of these drivers are committed to starting on those mediums regardless. But having a one-shot quali in a situation like this, it does put a lot of stress on you as we're riding on board with Gorzieg on his first flying lap attempt.
And Max Senna goes P2 there on his second flying run on the soft compound tyres. He's only about 3/10 off pole there, so he should be quite happy. I don't know if he's going to have time to get back into the pits and do another one, so it's going to be tight though. Still though, a very good lap by the Red Bull driver.
Gorzieg came across the line with a 1:31.4 on those soft compound tyres. That'll be good enough for 12th place. His teammate making his way through the last corner now. What's the time going to be? He's going to retake provisional pole. He improves by 6/10 Stars. What a drive. That is the provisional pole time with a 1:29.699. So not a bad effort at all from the Brazilian.
Oh, what a lap there. I'm just currently on board Macau with the founder of the MRL, Zamis himself. He comes into turn 14, has a beautiful exit through turn 15. It's looking nice. Hopefully he sets a car up for turn 16, takes a lot of that inside curve, takes it all out wide, opens a DRS on those medium compound tyres, puts himself in P4. Macau, P4 with a 1:30.7. Fastest time we've seen on the medium so far.
A very, very strong lap from the Scuderia there. Hopefully Striffium is able to put in a nice lap as well. He's currently on an outlap down at the back straight. But I do believe that is Cappy ahead of him. No, it's not. That would be Max Senna on an in lap. We'll see who we can ride on board with for the next attempt. So Maxime's coming through. Gorzieg also has that battery on. Can't exactly see who's on a flying lap at the moment.
I don't think anybody is. I think they're all on outlaps. Oh, Jay Fasai's on one. I think he's the only driver at the moment on track on a lap coming around turn 13, as he makes his way down the long straight. But yeah, everyone is on outlaps at the moment, so should see the timing tower get absolutely hammered in these last 2 minutes of the session here for the third for the fourth round of MRL, round China.
Jake Versailles making his way through the final corner now. DRS wide open, keep it tight to the right-hand side. He goes just ahead of his teammate by 0.05 of a second. Half a tenth in it between the two halves. That'll be a 1 minute 31.228. And that, dare I say, will be his final run in the session. Let's see who else is coming across the line to start a lap. I do believe that is the Alfa Romeo of Holtz. On those soft combat tires as he makes his way through the first couple of corners. We'll see where all these drivers land up. Looks like Stryfium actually is about to finish his first and probably only flying lap in the session, so as he makes his way through the final corner now.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully he puts a nice solid time on the board. The one-shot quali does put himself up into P14, not a bad lap there. I'm just sorry on board as well with Becky B. He's on the medium compound tire. It has been a very, very clean lap at the moment, so I think this is going to propel himself all the way up into the top flight there. As Rhapsody has retired, he doesn't believe he's going to improve on that time, and what a time it was as well. As Becky B comes around turn 14, gets on the power nice and early there, turn 15, all the way into turn 16 again. Doesn't cut that inside curb too much, wants to just play it safe, wants to put a time on the board. What's it going to be? P5 on the medium compound tires, 130.7.
Wow, that is 6 milliseconds faster than Zamus, but while that was going on, Cedrus, one of the newest additions, he made his debut as a reserve last week. He now has a full-time seat there over at Renault, and he is put in the fastest time out of anyone on the medium so far with a 1 minute 30.551. So that is a very strong lap time. But Becky B currently sitting in 5th place. We'll now have to keep all our eyes on S King as he prepares for his one and only lap in the session. Of course, these two now currently tied in the Drivers' Championship, so all eyes will be on these two to see how they fare in their duel around Shanghai.
Exactly right, Mikau. As the Williams are splitting the strategies, Yamamoto comes over into pole on those soft compound tyres, 129.4. That is provisional pole currently with 4 seconds left on the clock.
As the timer now hits 0, the checkered flag has now dropped. Looks like Stryfium heading into the pits now. We'll keep a close eye on S King, see what he is able to do. But I do believe it will be, no, not Maxson, it will be Cappy, but he is on an in-lap. I do believe behind him is Cedrus. He's also, I think all these guys on the back straight are actually on in-laps. I do believe, yeah. I do believe so. So I think it actually will be S King. No, it won't. My bad. BTFU. The other AlphaTauri down the kilometer-long back straight now, as he is going to set his final run on those medium compound tires. Currently sitting in 10th place with a 1 minute 30.922. So he's going to have to improve by a fair bit on those medium compound tires if he wants to do it. And Becky B retiring now as well. He will be satisfied with his 1 minute 30.7. BCFU now through the final corner now, up to the line. What's the time going to be? It's going to be P6 for the AlphaTauri. A 1 minute 30.384 on those mediums. Not a bad time at all, but how is this teammate going to do? That is the big question. We see how is it going to fare against Becky B, his main rival there. Max Senna coming across the line into third with a 29.7, and S King will go ahead of his teammate with a 1 minute 30.122 on the mediums. Wow, what a lap.
Yeah, I was on board with that one, Mikau. It was just sensational. He did a beautiful second sector. I think it was a 50.8 on the medium compound tyres. Definitely not a bad lap so far through that, through Sector 1, Sector 2. I thought it was going to be a 129. He did lose a little bit of time in the braking zone of turn 14. Brakes a little bit too early there, but still though, he should be very, very happy. P6 on the medium compound tyre. He's in prime position. Again, he always puts himself in it, Mikau. Yeah, he did all those races back on the soft compound tyres. I think he got pole a couple of times, so yeah, he's looking strong in qualifying, that's for sure. S King, watch out for him in the race.
And with that, that will be your grid. So Yamamoto on pole position, a very, very nice lap indeed. Not quite, I do believe, the track record here in MRL, but still a very, very solid time nonetheless. So we just wait for, I think it actually is at Yama to be pulled into the pits, and there we go. So Yamamoto there in the Williams on pole position with a 1 minute 29.424, just shy of 0.3 ahead of Rhapsody there in the Mercedes with a 1 minute 29.699. So just within a 0.7, or just outside of a 0.7 there. Mex Senna will be on the grid in third with a 1 minute 29.732. Then Aphrodite in the Renault squad in fourth. Angel in fifth as well for the Racing Point. Then it will be the two AlphaTauris, the two lead medium runners, S King followed by BTFU in sixth and seventh. Cedrus in his full-time debut in eighth for the Renault squad. Holtz in ninth and Becky B in 10th place. And we will, of course, go through the rest of this grid on the formation lap. But Stars, what a qualifying session we just witnessed. Top 7, I believe, separated by a second, but there were some very, very fast medium compound times out there.
Yeah, not wrong there at all, Macau. That was a very, very good qualifying session. I mean, we say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. If qualifying's anything to go by, it should be a cracker of a race. But yeah, qualifying, once again, does show up for the Americas. Just constant changes for that provisional pole there. But obviously, Yamamoto stepping up this week. I did actually put him as potentially maybe a P7 starting in qualifying, but obviously he's going for a different strategy. Wants to go for that soft compound tyre run. Soft hards can work, I believe, around here, Macau. It's a stretch, and it's not a fun stretch, but it is a stretch, and you can do it. I do believe, though, the medium to hard is the optimal strategy there. So, like I said, if the AlphaTauri boys, Cedrus, who else you got in there? You've got Becky B starting P10. They keep themselves clean. Look after the wing, which is probably the most important thing to do. Anything can happen in the race, that's for sure.
As we have all these cars lining up on the grid now to start the formation lap as we get set up here for the fourth round. And oh my goodness, that is quite a lot of variance in the tires. But as like we said before, Yamamoto there on pole position, Rhapsody in second, Mex Senna third, Aphrodite in fourth, Angel in fifth, the two AlphaTauris, S King BTFU in sixth and seventh, Cedrus in eighth, Holtz in ninth, Becky B rounds off the top 10. And then with free tire choice, it will be Zamis in the Ferrari in 11th place, Larkino in 12th, Cappy in 13th, and then the two McLarens of Cedros and Maxime B in 14th and 15th, followed by the two Haas's of JFSI and Axis in 16th and 17th, Stryfium in 18th, Gorzieg in 19th, and Werdad will start from the back of this grid. Now, while these guys are going through the formation lap, just like to say a quick thank you to our partners, Next Level Racing. They have some great sim gear, !NLR in the chat. Be sure to check them out as they are supporting us, helping to grow the sim racing community. Now, Stars, talk us through these tires, because I'm seeing quite a few guys start on those hards. So what should we be seeing out of them? Just go long on the hards onto the mediums, or what's the plan here for those guys in the back 10?
I think it just depends on safety cars at the end of the day for those guys in the back 10 on starting on those hard compounds, as you mentioned. I mean, soft to hard is a viable strat, so hard to soft is very viable. Some people say it's the quicker strat, some people say it's not. I think it just depends on your individual race as you move along. Maybe around that halfway mark or just a little bit past that, and you're thinking about, I'm just losing too much time here. I'm just going to be in no man's land. I'm out of DRS. I need to do something different. Then maybe just pit for the mediums. Still got that pace on those hards, and you're pushing, and you're within car lengths of people, and you're getting DRS, and you're saving fuel, and you're looking after yourself. Maybe extend and go for that. And just go for that. Go for those soft compound tires right at the end there, and you'll be blitzing them. But I do believe the drop off is about lap 4 on soft, so do need to push the hards very long into the race.
And we'll keep a close eye on what those drivers decide to do. Yaman out in that pole position now, taking his grid slot, seeing the 5 lights ahead of him as he waits for the rest of the grid to form up behind him. If you're just joining us, welcome to our coverage of the Misfits Racing League Season 4 Championship, round number 4 here in China for the Chinese Grand Prix. This is the Americas division. My name is Mikhail. Joining me is Stars, and the race is just about to begin as the final couple of cars take their grid slots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Shanghai for round number 4. It's lights out, and away we go. Looks like Yamak has gotten off to a pretty decent start there. But one driver who's gotten off to a great start is Aphrodite, as well as S King. Having a look around the inside of turn 1. We'll head a bit further back down this grid. Looks like S King making his way around the inside now, because the outside of turn 3 going side by side with Angel, as well as Becky B going side by side with BTFU there in the background as well. But a bit further back, there's an exchange there between Cappy and Maxime B. Looks like Cappy's going to be ahead of that one there. The two, looks like the Haas of Axis and Larkino also going side by side. There's a lot of jostling for position now as Mexena has actually run off the track at turn 6. He has to rejoin safely there. He's able to do so. Maxime B trying to find his way around the outside. He's unable to do that. Zamis as well getting past Becky B just ahead of them in the battle for 8th place there. And there is a lot of jostling for position on this grid, but crucially for the Williams of Yama, our pole sitter, he has gotten away cleanly, as well as Rhapsody and Aphrodite making up a place, I do believe, into 3rd.
Yeah, what a flying start by there by Yama. He obviously knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he's done it to absolute perfection. Very clean first lap there around the back of the bit, as Becky B actually nearly loses it on the inside curb coming out of turn 14 there. Sorry, turn 13. The only other thing that I do have to mention is Larkino actually picked up wing damage, heavy wing damage, going through turn 6. So Larkino will more than likely be boxing and getting off those hard compound tyres.
Joss and Cappy going side by side. Cappy squeezes him out onto the curbing. That's going to open the door for Axis to make it through as well. And so the McLaren now down to place. Strifium now chasing in. And like you said there, it looks like Gauziek's actually coming into the pits. So not great from him, but Yamamoto will be leading away as we start the second lap of this race, followed by Rhapsody, Aphrodite, Angel, with S-King, Cedrus, and BTFU close behind him. And Zamis as well has made up quite a bit of time. He is showing some great pace in the early stage of this race on the medium compact tires, and he still has a lot of battery to rip, but there's a yellow flag. That's one of the Red Bulls. It looks like it's Mexena. And it is. Mexena has been spun around, and he's got a lot of damage on that front wing as well, Stars. So very, very shaky start for the Red Bull squad here.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Mikhail. He's going to be boxing now, probably going onto the hard compound tyres, extending the stint. But yeah, apart from that, it was pretty clean. The first couple of laps, there a lot of jostling for position. The drivers are fighting very hard in this early stage of the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, we like to see it, and also not too many major incidents. We've seen some wings fly off here and there, but nothing too major just yet. So we have a great shot of the cars going through turns 11 and 12. And we'll see who's able to line up and move. Of course, DRS not quite enabled just yet, but he looks like the heart of Axis doesn't need it. He's using that overtake, the slipstream as well. Cappy goes offensive to the right-hand side. Axis with that overspeed, about, 5-10 kilometers an hour. Is it going to be enough? The Red Bull's trying to hold it. Goes for a dive up the inside. Is he able to hold that defense? It looks like Axis got the better exit out of the two. Now they're going side by side into the final corner. Axis led on the brakes, and he gets that move done for 12th place. So very nice done from him. Cedros as well, falling a little bit behind of those two, but now lap 3 has begun. So DRS has been enabled, Stars. So we should be seeing a lot more battles happening on the track as Strifium is trying to also chase down the Haas of Jay Fasai through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly right, Mikhail. The top 9 are all within DRS range of each other as Yama actually extends that. So Rhapsody made a little bit of an error coming out of turn 4, got a bit sideways. Yama obviously saw that and made that to full use as he's just pushed it out to 1.3 seconds. So hopefully he continues on his great run there, but Aphrodite is all over the back of Rhapsody. I think he's going to be wanting to make a move as soon as he physically can.
BTFU only a few tenths behind the runner of Cedrus, and S-King also doing very well to stay in that DRS or the soft runners ahead, because at the stage of the race the softs still have quite a bit of pace, but Yama is showing that he has pace over the rest of the guys now. He has put out 1.5 seconds, and Astronaut now in that runner has that DRS. Is he going to use that overtake? He's a little bit too far back, I think, to really make a move, but that DRS is certainly going to help him stay close to the back of that Mercedes. But the DRS train now is in full effect down this long back straight. Looks like Becky B much later on the brakes than Zamis, closing up quite a bit on the Ferrari in this battle between those two in 8th and 9th. I think there isn't really much happening at the moment. Just all these guys, line astern, heading there, just doing the laps, trying to find their rhythm. But Asteroid is very close to the back of Rhapsody, going through the first couple of corners. Is he going to try and make a dive into turn 6? Maybe we'll have to wait and see. It all depends on how this exit goes for the Renault and the Mercedes ahead. Rhapsody, they both about equal on the exits. So he won't really be close enough to make a dive yet, but there's actually also an exchange between Larkino and Wed, and it looks like Larkino's going quite slowly, and he has damage again, Stars.
Yeah, he's been trying to hang it out on those hard compound tyres, but now he's in a world of hurt. This is going to really impact his race now.
Back onto this fight up the front. Looks like Rhapsody having a little bit of a connection issue there. You see him with the X above his car. But Aphrodite still doing very well to stay as close to the back of that Mercedes as he can. And his teammate Cedrus is also doing very well to keep up with S-King and Angel ahead of those two. So all these guys just sort of holding position, just trying to save the tyres. But it looks like Cedrus is running a little bit less wing maybe than S-King in front of him. He seems to be closing up a little bit, but it isn't going to be quite enough to go for a move into the hairpin. He actually locks up massively heading into the hairpin. BCFU getting very close to the back of him. And we have the first pitter from the soft combat tyres, and that's very early from the Mercedes of Rhapsody heading into the pits. So 2 stop stars?
I would assume so. That's something that I did not expect at all. He isn't changing his wing. He's just going onto the hard compound tyre. Don't know if they can last this long, honestly. As Lakino actually picks up more wing damage. He actually lost it at turn 14, went straight into the wall. So he's pretty much got no wing at all at the moment.
It looks like these top 8, aside from
Rhapsody.
Rhapsody had a little bit of a connection issue there. Hate to see it, but hopefully he's able to get back into the lobby sooner rather than later. But after 5 laps of running in this one, Yama has put out 3 seconds ahead of Astrite in 2nd place there, and Angel close behind in 3rd. And there's a massive train all the way down to 8th place, the rear being brought up by the Williams and championship leader of Becky B. But all these drivers doing a very good job to try and stay with each other. It's now at this point the softs will be starting to die, and you can just see that S-King is so close to the back of this racing point. He's got that overtake on. He's trying to use a bit of that slipstream as well. Angel using a lot of that battery to try and stay ahead. DRS now wide open for the AlphaTauri. Cedrus as well, close behind them. S-King has a little look. Angel goes semi-defensive. Oh my goodness, these guys are so close. You can just see S-King's almost pushing that racing point through the corner. And those softs must be screaming at the moment. And there we go, those 2 runners going into the pits. But Yama staying out yet another lap. So looks like Aphrodite and Angel have now released the medium runners. And they will now be putting the foot to the floor, pushing as hard as they can to make those mediums work. And we'll see where those 2 come out from the pit lane. Actually splitting the strategy. Angel going onto the mediums and Aphrodite going onto the hards. So Angel almost definitely going for the 2-stop. Which
definitely
is
2-stop there by Angel.
Yeah, very interesting to see. But as you can see from the mini-map on the right-hand side of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, we sort of get these little clumps of drivers starting to form behind this massive battle for now what is P2. It looks like S-King is able to lead that train along. We also have a fight going on behind them between Holtz and Maxime B. Maxime on the hard compound tires and Holtz on those aging softs. They certainly won't be feeling it too great at the moment. We also have the Hearts of Axis close behind them as well within half a second. So we'll keep a close eye on those guys, but we'll now jump back up to this train for the runners up position. And it looks like Becky B, he's using that overtake, he's using the DRS, but he's not quite catching it Zamis as much. He's like, is he going to go for a dive up the inside? No, he decides to back out of it, showing great patience there in that Williams. Of course, he is the championship leader, but behind them, Maxime B looking for a move around the outside. Around the outside of Holtz. Holtz giving him the squeeze onto the curbing, and that has allowed Axis to get past both of them there. What a move from the Haas driver. As we see Yama and Holtz both diving into the pits, so those soft tires are definitely done. But what a move from the Haas. But Maxime B is coming back at him around the outside into turn 1. He has to leave the room on the inside. Axis trying to hold it round. Oh, they're still going side by side, so they make their way into turn 2. A little bit of clip from the grass there for the Haas driver. But Maxime B, he's doing all that he can to hold on to this position, and he gets the move done out of turn 4. But the exit seems to be quite a bit better for the Haas driver. Is he going to make him dive into turn 6? No, not quite. So Maxime will get that move done for the 6th place position heading into sector 2. Wow, what an exchange we just witnessed there, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, very hard and respectful racing. It was beautiful to watch there. Jay Fasai is getting closer and closer, lap by lap, to strip him for that last points finish spot on the leaderboard there. So just watch out for that battle. But yes, we did see Yama come into the pits. For our Merc fans out there, Rhapsody has joined back, but he has lost about 3 seconds to Aphrodite, and more than likely around about 6 seconds to Yama.
Well, yeah, man, we're currently riding on board with the other Williams. Currently in 12th place, he goes very late on the brakes. You can really just see how much pace he actually has. There's a yellow flag ahead. That is the Red Bull of Cappy. He seems to have lost it out of turn 13. But now Jay Fasai in that Haas, lining up a move on the Ferrari, using that overtake, slipstream, DRS, rich mix as well probably, to full effect. Oh, Strifium trying to go for a late defense there. And it looks like the Haas is cleanly through. Yama's going to try and find his way past the Ferrari as well. Heading into the final couple of corners, Strifium pulls back onto the racing line. Yama just trying to focus on that exit, using that overtake DRS in full effect, but Strifium as well is using the resources. Angel setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Yama pulls to the right-hand side, trying to look for a move up the inside, but he has to back out of it as Strifium is trying to poke his nose in on the Haas of Jay Fasai. He gets to get squeezed on the grass, and the Ferrari is spun around. And he is on the grass. We hate to see it. But that is the Ferrari of Strifium now. He has to be careful reversing back onto the track, trying to get that car turned around. And that is the Ferrari. That move just didn't quite work out. But it looks like Yama and both Angel have been putting in some very, very decent lap times as of late. Of course, Angel setting the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, but Yama as well doing a great job to stay very, very close to the back of this Haas. And he's probably going to be looking to clear the Haas as soon as he possibly can.
He needs to clear it, Macau. He needs to clear this Haas as soon as he physically can. All he's doing now is losing time to S-King, who's in clean air, Sadras, BTFU, Zamis, and Becky B. No changes made to the front 5 at the moment. They're just all helping each other. No one's fighting anyone. So Yama needs to get this move done, and he needs to get it done very, very quickly, because he's got Angel all over the back of him and nearly pushing him through turn 13 there, Macau. As on a quick side note, as we go down the back straight, Zamis was our first driver to pick up a penalty, but both drivers here with DRS open. Yama's all over the back of Jay Fasai, and Angel all over the back.
It's going to be 3 wide. Oh my goodness, they're both going for it. Yama with a massive dive, but it hasn't worked out. They haven't worked out for either of them, and now Aphrodite on those hards is also trying to get in on this action. Yama very low on batteries, you can see it from a red flashing light on your screens, and what a run out of the Renault. As we have another yellow flag, looks like one of the Red Bulls, and Jay Fasai is just a sitting duck. Angel going up the inside, what a dive from the racing point, and he gets that move done.
And Astro goes down the inside as well, right where Striff nearly lost it. Well, did lose it. He just nearly loses it again by Astro there, but he has to slide in just behind Jay Fasai there. Jay Fasai nearly lost 3 positions in the space of 2 corners there, Macau.
Yeah, he almost did. And that was, a massive dive there from the Renault. Oh my goodness, Aphrodite barging his way past, a little bit of a wheel tap there, but the Renault does make it through into 12th place. I'm sure Jay definitely wasn't expecting that one. So we actually have some side-by-side action between Yama and Angel. Yama trying to hold off the racing point as much as he can, but for Angel's sake, he needs to now pass the Williams as well, because I think Yama might actually try and stretch these tires to the end, but Angel definitely will not. As it looks like Cedros is getting very close to the back of S-King there in the battle for the lead as well.
Yeah, this is starting to heat up there, Macau. Like I said, these drivers, Yama and Angel and Astro, they're only affecting their own race here. Yama's out of pretty much ERS, Angel out of DRS, ERS, sorry, God, get it right in 3rd time. Astro is still saving up a little bit, but these guys' races are getting very compromised. As Angel's all over the back of Yama again. They're catching up to traffic for them anyway, so they're trying to make their way through. But these drivers at the front here, if they keep it all clean and everyone just minds their own business, they could definitely be bringing themselves into a winning position towards the end of the race.
Yeah, what is also important to note is that Zamis has now fallen out of that 1 second gap that he needs to keep that rear wing opening down the 2 DRS zones on this track, and that means it's probably going to expose him to Becky B. Lap 10 of this race now on these mediums. They should still have a bit of life left in them, but they definitely are past their peak, isn't that right, Stars?
Yeah, definitely. They'll start to feel a little bit of a drop-off now in performance as they make their way, especially through Sector 2. They'll struggle to turn the car in through 7 and 8.
Here we go.
They still...
Cappy, Yama, side by side through the S's. Cappy, oh, he's letting the curbing tap. The Cappy Red Bull, he got a snap of oversteer on the curbing, and he had to turn aggressively into Yama there. And the Red Bull squad just keeps going. The Red Bull's just going from bad to worse in this one. But Cedrus back in this fight at the top, getting very, very close to the back of Esking now. But that was quite a violent tap, quite a violent incident there from the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, seems to lose it on the inside there, obviously try to recorrect it, and the only way he could is by smashing his car into Yama. I don't believe Yama picked up damage. I do believe the Red Bull did, so hopefully Yama's race isn't ruined by that, because that would be very unfortunate.
Rhapsody going for a massive lunge on Jay Fasai into the hairpin, goes a little bit deep. Can Jay find the switchback? Does he have the grip left in those hards versus the fresher hards? It doesn't quite look like it, and Rhapsody has made that move now into 12th place. Wed as well, trying to do his best to get back in that DRS range. But Jay Fasai is now down at one more position, down into 13th, as Cappy pits to replace that wing damage. And the Red Bulls definitely don't want to be in that debrief room after. Christian Hornet is going to be pissed.
Going to be livid there, Macau. That's for sure. They're going to be packing up nice and early and probably heading off the next race down in Netherlands. Looking forward to that one now, I'm sure.
We'll now jump back on with this fight for what is the lead. Actually, before we do that, Holtz very, very close to the back. Stripping goes extremely deep at turn 6. Could this be the moment that Holtz was looking for? Stripping has to defend to the inside. Holtz, they both are taking very interesting lines there through that corner, I do say. But Strifium is able to hold on to that position for the time being. And I don't quite know if Holtz is just buying his time or just waiting for a better opportunity. But he has to pick up the pace a little bit.
The leaders pit. We've got Cedras followed by BTFU followed by Zamis all come into the pits. We've got S-King and Beckerby staying out for another lap, it seems. So it looks like it's going to be a medium to hard strategy for these front runners.
It's kind of what we were expecting there. But this is a very, very important phase of the race. Let's see how the stops go. Looks like there isn't much changing in position now. Where do these three come out? Because these three collectively, it looks like, are going for the undercut on both S-King and Becky B. And
Cedras got it.
Cedras, he's gotten it on Yama. So very, very nicely done from him. And crucially for Cedras as well, BTFU and Zamis are now both stuck behind Yama and Astro. So he's actually now in a very, very good spot to make some great, great time. But there's a spin actually. That's one of the racing points. That's Angel. Oh no, what has happened to the racing point? He's missing that right end plate. And he is now down into 14th.
I'm not too sure what happened there. Unfortunately, he's lost it. Maybe he had a little bit of a collision, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Cedras, obviously, he was roughly around about 5 seconds behind Yama when Yama pitted. So you can just see how strong that overcut has been due to Yama battling with Angel and Astro. So Cedras in a prime position at the moment. I do expect to see... Oh, S-King and Becky B have stayed out. They've stayed out in the count. They haven't pitted like all the other guys did. They're not reacting.
Yeah, it looks like the front two want to have a fight of their own, but I don't know if that's quite the right decision. If Cedras has that clean air, he might actually come out ahead of those guys eventually, but we'll see how that situation plays out. BTFU now getting past the Renault of Astrodite, now up into 8th place, and he has a little bit of work to catch up to next car of Yamamoto, as Axis in the Haas is also, has dove into the pits to put on what looks like a fresh set of hard compound tyres. Yes, it is for the Haas driver, and he'll be coming out in some nice clean air in 13th, and he just has to put in the laps that he needs. But it looks like Yama very, very close. Actually, there's a bit of a connection issue there for the Williams. These two going side by side. BTV all the way out on the curbing at the exit of turn 4 through the kink of 5 now. Does the AlphaTauri go for the move into turn 6? No, not quite, but he is so close to the back of this Williams, and he has to find a way past because every single turn that he's stuck behind this Williams, Cedras is just getting further and further away. 3.6 is now the gap between those two. Yama, very, very slight weave there. Astrodite.
On the inside.
Aphrodite's trying to make his way through as well. These two going side by side through turns 9 and 10. You don't see that one very often. Aphrodite has made the move work around the outside. Zamas now has the best seat in the house. He actually runs into the back of BTFU. Doesn't look like it was hard enough to get any damage. But these two are fighting it out to tooth and nail. Giving it absolutely everything. Now they both have that overtake mode on as S-King and Becky B finally pit. So this is where we will see how effective this undercut has been. Aphrodite with the DRS, but BTFU still has that greater speed. A little bit early on the brakes though. Aphrodite gets boxed in by the AlphaTauri and the Williams. BTFU trying to make his move around the outside, and he gets the move done on the Renault. So very, very nicely done from him indeed. He runs a little bit wide on the exit though. Now he's using that overtake and DRS to try and make his way past the Williams of Yama. You can see those two coming out. Becky B getting ahead. He's on the inside, heading into turn 1. This could be trouble. BTFU gets past one Williams, but he's trying to make his way past another, trying to stick his nose in, keep it there through the first sequence of corners. But the overcut has worked for Becky B, at least on BTFU. But S-King, both S-King and Becky B have lost out to Cedras in that undercut massively, just because Cedras had that clean air, and he's now 2 seconds ahead. Becky B doing very, very well to get ahead of BTFU there, but this fight is just heating up more and more stars.
Oh, this is great racing, Macau. This is beautiful. This is what you want to see in MRL. This is it. This is the pinnacle of racing, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome if you're just joining us. We are at the Shanghai International Circuit around China, and my God, Macau, it is bloody beautiful. All these guys, all within DRS here, fresh tyres. Obviously, Yama and Astra are the ones who have got the older hards, because they had to start on the soft compound tyres due to qualifying. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can go all the way to the end and still have the same performance as these guys who have just come in. I very much doubt it. I think it's going to be a race between Cedras, S-King and Becky B.
We still have a few drivers who are yet to pit in this race. Wed actually is the one of note. He's gone 13 laps. 13 laps on those medium combat tires. So he's done basically half the race on those mediums. So he's shown some great tire management there. Could we be seeing maybe a medium soft? I highly doubt it, but I mean...
He comes in the pit
there.
Mick.
There we go. So he will, for no doubt, be putting on a set of hard compound tires to go to the end of this race. At least that is what I would expect. And we're also...
Yeah, he'll have no issues making them to the end there.
BCFU still eyeing up the Williams in front of him. Two AlphaTauris ahead of the two Williams respectively. It goes alternating between those two guys. The two McLarens currently in the lead of this race, but of course they did start on those hard combat tires. So Cedras is actually in the net lead of this race, but only by about 2 seconds, as S-King is doing great work to close that gap up. So he is looking like he might have a fight on his hands.
Yeah, definitely. S-King, I think, is pushing a little bit there, just trying to make, just trying to use all that performance he physically can out of the car, out of those tyres early on. Does actually lose it a little bit through turn 12 and through turn 13. Does manage to straighten the car up a little bit there, but he will definitely be wanting to get into DRS as quickly as he physically can, because he knows he's got the pace over Cedras. Becky B's losing a little bit of time. So as we see BTFU all over the back of Becky B, DRS wide open, just goes down the outside. Becky B, they're actually very late on the brakes. Sorry, yeah, and actually gets the move done. BTFU had nowhere to go. He actually had to cut him behind, so he's going to get DRS again through turn 16, as Cedros has come into the pits there on the hard compound tyres. S-King fastest up the race at 133.9. BTFU DRS wide open again, and he's not going to get the move done, but we do have another move done. Aphrodite all over the back of... Sorry, no, there wasn't a move done. That was in the pits. My mistake on that one. Apologies.
Yeah, so a great move there well, a great attempted move there from BTFU trying to go around the outside of Becky B. But it just didn't quite work out. So these guys will hold position for the time being. But crucially for those two, they actually have broken the DRS gap back to Yama, who has broken it to Asher as well. But Zamas, even with that penalty, he is still pushing like there is no tomorrow. And he is still within that about half a second of the Renault ahead of him.
Yeah, he does only have the one penalty of the race, but hopefully he can stay within DRS and pull him along there, keep him in contention. We do have Rhapsody slowly getting onto the back of this train here. Obviously he lost out a lot of time, but he is putting in laps, so He is on 10 lap-year-old hards though, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle.
BTFU, he used a lot of battery in that attack, but he's still within that DRS to try and save some battery. And if BTFU is able to get past Becky B, that could be huge news, not just for the drivers, but also the constructors, because that means that Becky B will be losing a couple more points to S-King, as we now have the last of the, well, one of the last of the runners diving into the pits. That is Maxime B in the other McLaren, diving into the pits. So now these guys, at least at the front part, will be fighting for position. So Cedrus, 1.8 seconds is the gap back from him to S-King. Then about 3 seconds back behind them is the two Americans of Becky B and BTFU respectively in their fight for that final podium place. And then Yama 1.6 seconds behind them. Then Aphrodite, Zamis behind those guys. Rhapsody in 8th for the Mercedes. And then we have the two Haas's of JFSI and Axis in 9 and 10th. But JFSI still needs to make his pit stop. And I do believe he is the only driver, as Striffium dives into the pits, yet to make a pit stop this race.
Yeah, he will be the last one. Looks like he's maybe potentially going for that hard soft strategy there. It's just going to put him in a world of hurt. Obviously, probably should have maybe pitted a little bit earlier for those mediums like Maxime and Cjos did, but we have to wait and see. The top 8 are not pitting again, unless obviously for safety car or VSC conditions. The only difference is Rhapsody, Aphrodite, and Yama are going to be on old, raining hard compound tyres when everyone else is on fresh, well, a lot fresher tyres than those guys. So have to see how that plays out. BTF closing into the back of Becky B. He's not going to get the move done into turn 14.
What about
here.
Zamis,
Hopefully he can set himself up though.
What about Zamis trying to go around the outside of Aphrodite, heading into the hairpin? He's able to keep it fully alongside on the outside. He gets a little bit of a snap overstep, but luckily no contact between these two. Zamis will have the inside line into 16, but he misses the apex there, the switchback from Aphrodite, and he will have that DRS as well. It's a drag race now between these two down the main straight as they start lap 18 of 28 in this race, and Aphrodite, through all of that fighting, will hold position, and they haven't lost too much time to Yama in the Williams ahead of them. So a great
Becky
toss
B
between
and
those two.
BTFU went side by side. Macau through turn 1 and through turn 2. They lost out a lot of time to S-King. S-King's pulling away and closing the gap to Cedras. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, that's for sure.
It's another exchange there as JFSI finally comes into the pits. What compound tyre will it be? It will be the mediums for him. So it'll only be, I do believe, Gorzieg and Larkino are the only ones left who must make another pit stop, because those tyres definitely aren't going to the end. But everyone else theoretically could make it to the end of this race. However, I'm still skeptical on Rhapsody's tyre life, because he did pit very, very early for those hards.
Yeah, they're going to be not a pleasure to drive towards the latter end of the race there. The two that you did mention, Larkinio and Gorzieg, were the two drivers who have picked up damage this race, unfortunately.
Zamis having a little bit of a moment coming through turns 12 and 13. So he will be unable to make the move thus far. But the two McLarens now on those fresh mediums are now both hunting down the Haas of Axis, who's on the hard compound tyres. Maxime B, which way is he going to go? He pulls to the left-hand side, and that'll be an easy move from the McLaren. Looks like the Haas just slotting in behind them. And Maxime B now doubling his point total, at least for this race. Now up into 9th place, so very, very nicely done from him. Axis now trying to do all he can to stay with the McLaren and not lose out to the other McLaren FC just behind him.
Yeah, the McLarens are bullying the Haas driver here at the moment. They're all over the back of each other at the moment, so going through turn 2, Cedros gets very close to the back of Axis there. Axis has actually taken a bit of grass. It's a new line, I haven't seen that one yet. It's going to ruin the tyres a little bit more, or add a little bit more wear to them, but obviously they're all holding positions at the moment. But I keep an eye on these front runners here. BTFU is still all over the back of Becky B and has actually broken out to 3 seconds over Yama, just because they have been battling but not been too hard. As actually does lose a car a little bit through turn 10.
Yeah, a bit of a scary moment there for BTFU. It hasn't cost him too much. He's still within that DRS range, but I'm sure that he was hoping to get another attack at least on this lap. But it looks like he'll be just a bit too far back, I think, to really mount an attack. He's not using that overtake, so I think he's just going to stay in DRS and save a little bit for the time being. will now jump back on board with this, the McLaren's bullying around the Haas of Axis. Looks like Maxime has already pulled
Zamas
out
goes
one
down
and a
for a massive dive into turn 14. He's actually blocked Aphrodite's exit there, and he has got the move done. Zamas back ahead, P6.
We've seen this situation before, though. Is Aphrodite able to close up to the back of this Ferrari? We'll go from the rear wing shot. It looks like Zamas has done enough on this occasion, so Aphrodite will be sticking behind for at least another lap as Maxime B sets the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:33.693. So very, very nicely done from him. As he just goes for a massive dive on the inside of turn 1, that's contact. A nice drift out there from the McLaren driver, but at the cost of an end plate. I don't know if that move was really on. We didn't really see too much of it. As it looks like Gorziak is heading into the pit lane now to get off of those very, very old medium compound tires. Probably put on a fresh set of softs to the end of this race. But quite a bit of a argy-bargy, elbows out in full effect between those two in the battle for that final point.
Yeah, the McLarens are not too sure what was going on there. It was the Renaults last week who struggled to finish the race, and at this rate it's going to be the McLarens.
Well, they definitely need a finish, especially after how things went last week for those two drivers back in Vietnam with the puncture and the spin at the final corner. But meanwhile, looks like Becky B is doing a very, very good job to sort of keep BTFU at bay. He does seem to be charging the battery, but they are both about the same amount of charge stars. So some nice laps there from Becky B. But I think what's even more impressive is S King 1.1 seconds to Cedras. He has been showing some incredible pace, and they both have been pushing both fairly low on their battery. So S King is showing that he has the pace to probably win this race if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, I think he was just conserving a little bit as Axis picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to maybe potentially put Cedros into the points there, so you have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, as you were saying, Mikhail, I was just actually on board with S King. He is using a little bit more battery as he does nearly go into that 1 second mark, and there it is, down into 9/10, the high 9/10 behind Cedros. So he understands that he's got 2 lap fresher tyres. He knows that it's probably not going to make too much of a difference at the moment, but come those last couple of laps, it's actually going to be a big difference because both sets of tyres are going to be starting to feel it. But obviously the fresher ones are going to take it. Might be maybe 3/10 a lap, who knows, but he's definitely got the race pace over Cedras, I do believe. He is the current fastest lap holder as well. No, Maxime B got that last lap, but S King is pushing and pushing hard.
And he's done it. 8/10 is now the gap between those two. S King will have that rear wing open to help him conserve a bit more of that battery and maybe mount an attack in the dying stages of the race. But this could be big news as BTFU now is going for yet his second attempt on the Williams to Becky B. Again, Becky B defending to the inside line. BTFU trying to hold it around the outside. He's still there fully alongside. He is entitled to that room and he's gotten the move done, but at what cost now? BTFU cutting that final corner. That will definitely be a warning. And looks like he's also used up a lot of battery to try and make that move stick. Becky B, just with that DRS, is just sticking behind the AlphaTauri for the moment. But BTFU is, at least for the time being, up into a podium place. Or is he? Door seemed to be ajar there for the Williams through turn 2. But BTFU slams it shut. And yes, he will hold on to that position for the time being. But with a 30% battery disadvantage, I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold on to that position, Stars.
We're going to have to wait and see. I was just on board actually with Becky and BTFU the last couple of laps. It looks like Becky B's car is more stable through the corners. He can really flow it through turn 7, turn 8, and then turn 12 and 13. That's been helping him down that back straight. That's why BTFU's been needing to go on those massive dives, but BTFU's set his car up for more of a straight line speed. So that's why he's closing in through or along the back straight there. So it's going to be interesting to see obviously how it does all play out with BTFU on older compound tyres through turn 12 and 13. He might be getting a little bit slidey towards the end of the race. Even there, sliding a little bit out of the corner. Becky B just all over the stability of that car there.
Well, we'll see what kind of downforce these guys are running, as Cappy will be the third driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Becky B is closing, but looks like BTFU has just enough straight line speed, at least for the time being, when Becky B is conserving his battery to stay ahead. And could this be the strategy that Becky B is going for? Just mount an attack in the last few laps when BTFU is out of resources and out of opportunities to really make that move.
Yeah, you could be right there, but I'm telling you, up the front there for the position for number 1, 3 tenths Macau, 4 tenths now. It's tightened up very tight, so it's going to be a good battle towards the end here between first and second and third and fourth.
Yes, one Terry is defending, the other one is attacking. S-King doing all that he can to stay on the back with Cedrus. Cedrus has actually done very well to charge up a little bit more battery in his defense. But S-King, certainly not a slow driver by any means. I do believe he is still the fastest runner on these hards. So he is showing some great pace at the moment, as is well, everyone in this top 4. But aside from that as well, we also see Zamis and Aphrodite starting to close up to the Williams of Yamamoto as well. So there could be something brewing there.
That's right.
But meanwhile, at the back,
is all over the back at Stryfium with DRS, no ERS to play with here. Stryfium's also burning a little bit there just to get ahead, but is he going to go for the dive? Stryfium does leave the space there. Gauzier, he's thinking about it. He does go for it. Jeez, he's pushing him a little. Well, he doesn't push him, but he's really using most of that track there. Tyres just touch a little bit. Is Gauzier going to get better traction out of turn 3? He doesn't seem to. Both tyres are still quite young there. Obviously a big difference in terms of compounds. Gauzier will slide back in. I think he might get him through turn 13, turn 14.
Oh, he's
on that one
so
there,
close.
Macau.
He is so close to the back of this Ferrari. Those softs, only 2 laps old. They're showing that they have so much grip. Gauzier looking around the outside of turn 8. Comes the inside of turn 9.
That would have been a move of the century, that one.
Yeah, it definitely would have been quite the move. But look at the run he's gotten through turns 9 and 10. Is he going to go for the move here? Stryfium forcing him to the inside of the track. But it looks like Gauzier stays behind for the time being. But that does mean that he will have DRS on the Ferrari. And I think once he has DRS, if he's able to keep it nice and clean through turns 12 and 13, which he is able to, despite the lack of a battery, I think he is going to be able to get this move done just based on the pure speed. There he goes on the outside. Looks like Max Center as well, trying to close
Stryfium
up.
comes back.
Stryfium comes back. Gauzier goes off the track.
Nicely done.
Gauzier has a little bit of a moment. That's going to open the door for Max Center as well around the outside, heading into the final corner, and the Red Bull is now up into 17th place.
Jeez, that was a really good exchange of places there by those 3 drivers, that's for sure.
Center now is going to be trying to eye up Stryfium as best he can as well. He's also very, very low on battery, so we'll see how that plays out. But the other Ferrari, Zamis, very, very close to the back of Yama. Yama locking up massively into the hairpin. See what Zamis is able to do. Zamis has actually pulled out 1 second on Aphrodite, but he does still have that 3-second time penalty looming as he runs wide on the exit of the last corner again. That could be yet another warning. But only 500ths off of his best lap time so far, so he's showing great consistency and great pace all around. And another driver to do so is S-King, as well as BTFU, Becky B, and Cedrus, those top 4, also still locked in their battle. And I'm wondering how Yama's tyres must be feeling, because there's only 4 laps to go, Stars. We haven't really mentioned the lap counter, but there's only a handful of laps to go, so if there's going to be any moves made, they need to be made soon.
Yeah, especially for Zamis here, you can tell that obviously that the fresher tyres are definitely helping him over the battle with Astro and Yamas, but he needs to get this move done ASAP so he can pull out with a bit of clean air that 3-second gap to hopefully solidify a P5 for Zamis. But yes, as you were saying, only 4 laps to go. It's interesting to see Cedrus is actually hardly using battery at all, where S-King is actually using more, and he is within DRS, so this is going to be a really tight battle towards the end here. Cedrus is playing his cards very nicely at the moment.
And it looks like BCFU and Becky B are in sort of a similar situation. However, Becky B is the one with the ERS advantage compared to the Avatar in front of him, but still isn't quite able to close up enough to make the move stick. But we'll jump back on board to this battle for 17th place. Stryfium running a little bit wide through turn 3. Can Max Center find the grip that he needs? Within 2 tenths, he's close enough to go for a dive if he so chooses. He goes for it. He actually runs to the back of Stryfium. Stryfium getting pushed out wide, but he's able to hold that position for the time being. And Gauzier's just like, let me through. I'm on these softs, and they're about to die. Let me through, please. but not quite just yet.
Yeah, the drop off for those softs has definitely happened now. Gauzieg's lost a lot of performance and unfortunately hasn't got the move done, so it's ultimately affected his race there. Just quickly, briefly as well, turn 14, last lap, Zamis was side by side with Yama. Yama managed to get a better exit, so Zamis is still trying to push to get on through. Aphrodite has actually caught back in within DRS range, so it's going to be very interesting the last couple of laps here. Let's see how these drivers play their cards.
Yes, it'll be very interesting with only 3 laps to go. Zamis 4 tenths behind Yama. Aphrodite 4 and a bit tenths behind Zamis. As well as we have those 2 duels for first and third. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of battling still going on as we have a nice, very nice helicopter shot of these 3 for battling for 5th place. Aphrodite getting very, very close to the back of that Ferrari. They will both have DRS. Looks like Zamis might be just a bit too far back to make a move. But is Aphrodite, does he have the straight line speed to go for a lunge? Not quite. He has a look around the outside, but it isn't going to amount to anything. And Becky B now...
Maxime B. Sorry, you go, Mick.
Yeah, Becky B. 2 tenths. Penultimate lap of this race. 2 tenths is all it is between himself and BTFU. BTFU currently 11% battery. Becky B up to 60%. So he must be trying to make a move either on this lap or the final lap of the race. And then just use all of that battery to pull away.
Yeah, Zamis unfortunately has picked up another penalty, so that's 6 seconds. So Zamis is now out of the fight for P5, confirmed. Maxime's actually only on 9-lap-old medium compound tyres. He actually has made up 7 seconds to Rhapsody, so he'll be hoping to push through for P8 there in that battle. And depending on what happens with Zamis, he could actually maybe get P7 as well.
Definitely a lot to play for in these dying laps. Becky B, we're just currently riding on board with the Williams in 4th place at the moment. He is so close to the back of BTFU still, but he's not using really any of that battery coming through turns 12, 13. He now is using it and he's keeping it on. I think this is going to be the move. The red light now flashes. DRS now wide open for BTFU. He's using everything that he can. Becky B, which way is he going to go? BTFU holding the outside line on the racing line. They're side by side, these two, heading into the hairpin now. This is the fight for the final podium place, ladies and gentlemen. Who's going to win out of the traction battle? It will be Becky B having his nose ahead through the final corner. BTFU gets his run compromised. The Cedros gets the new fastest lap of the race as the leaders are now starting the final lap. Lap 28 of 28, and there is still so much to play for. S-King now still very, very close to the back of Cedros for this race win. And Becky B, he's now going to be using all of the battery, all of the resources that he has, but he doesn't have a lot of fuel. That fuel light already flashy red, meaning that he is very, very low, so he doesn't have much rich mix to play with on this final lap of the race. But Yama, Zamis, and Aphrodite, despite the penalty that Zamis has, he is still giving it all that he's got because that 7th place is still on the line, considering the fight behind them for 8th place between Maxime and Rhapsody. So a lot of duels still going on in this final lap, Stars.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's what you want to see here. Obviously, S-King, he's got hardly little ERS, red lights on. Cedras, as long as he keeps it clean, he has actually pulled out that 1 second. Interesting to see if S-King does pick up DRS though, because it was right on the detection point. I think Cedras has got this one in the bag, Mikau.
Yes, I see S-King does have that DRS, but with 3% battery, I don't see him realistically closing up enough. We will now go onto the duel for the final podium place with the lower wings. BTFU, he's closing on Becky, he's closing, but 0% battery. Is he got enough to go for a dive? He goes for it, the doors open around the outside. He goes a bit deep, and Becky B will hold on to that position, but Becky B has to make his way through the final corner. Cedros will take the win and fastest lap on the final lap of the race, Lewis Hamilton style, to take the win for that Renault squad. S-King comes across in 2nd, Becky B in 3rd, BTFU in 4th, and now we jump back on board for 5th, 6th, and 7th. It will be Yama holding off those 2 drivers. Yama in 5th, Aphrodite in 6th, and how has Zamis done with the penalties? Zamis will hold on to that 7th place. Maxime B will pick up 8th on the back of Rhapsody's penalty, and Axis should come across to take the final point for the Haas squad, depending on penalties. Is he just going to get it?
We do have another battle, though. We do have another battle. Sorry, Macau, to cut in right at the back there. It's the Ferrari powered unit engines of P17, P18, Striffim and Larkino. Larkino is caught in by a lot, actually. Striffim's made a big mistake there. Larkino actually gets sideways out of turn 13 there, so maybe Striffim might hold just onto that last, or that P17 spot. But he is closing, and he is closing very quickly with DRS wide open. Going to be interesting to see what happens in this last little bit. He doesn't go for a dive, and Striffim will probably hold on to that position.
So yeah, leaving the kick out from the rear there as well. Seajoss in 11th, Holtz in 12th, Jay Fasai in 13th, Wed AM in 14th, Mex Senna and Cappy, the two Red Bulls, 15th and 16th. Striffim will come across at 17th, Larkino in 18th, and Gorzieg will round off the finishers. What a race. Absolutely insane. Cedras, driver of the day. I think that's well deserved. He drove phenomenally throughout this entire event. But props to everybody on this grid all the way down the field. Lots of battles, lots of very clean battles as well. We only saw quite a few incidents that were maybe a little bit questionable, but I'm sure that it was all in good fun there. But well done to Cedras on his full-time debut, taking the race win here in China.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, what a race. I'm exhausted after that. That was intense. That was great racing shown by all drivers. Like you said, Macau, very clean, very respectful. I think we only had a couple of cars with damage, so it's great to see that it wasn't the full grid, but Cedras on full-time debut. Well done, sir. Really good performance.
So Cedras will take the win and fastest lap with a 1 minute 33.149. Lewis Hamilton style, taking it on the final lap of the race when his tyres were dead. S-King comes up second best. He put up a valiant effort, but he will have to settle for the second place finish. He is, however, ahead of Becky B, his championship rival there, who comes across the line in third to round off the podium places. BTFU making it a strong showing for AlphaTauri squad in fourth place. Yama rounding off the top five in the second Williams car. Then it's Aphrodite in the second Renault. So Renault, AlphaTauri, and Williams having a great result there. Then it'll be Zamis in seventh, Maxime B in eighth, Rhapsody in ninth, and Axis will round out the top 10 there. Seajoss in 11th place, Holt in 12th, Jay Fasai 13th, Word Dad in 14th, Mex Senna 15th, Cappy 16th, Striffium 17th, Larkino 18th, Gorzieg 19th, and Angel was the only one unable to finish this race. But what a drive from all these drivers. I am speechless. That was a great race all around.
Definitely right there, Macau, and I think it just goes to show, doesn't it, starting on the medium to hards, optimal strategy. The front four started both all on the mediums, finished on the hards there. Yamamoto starting on pole on those soft compound tires, and Astro obviously P4 on those soft compound tires, soft to hards. I just don't think it's worth it, to be honest. I think you just lose too much time, and then you're battling in the last moments of the race on very, very disgustingly old grain tires. It's not exactly where you want to be there, but yeah, the optimal strategy definitely pulls in there. Obviously, Zamis picking up his best result of the season, P7. Unfortunate to the penalties there. Could have been a bit higher, but I think he's still going to be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, points are points at the end of the day. Maybe not as high up as he would have hoped, but those penalties did cost him in the end. But luckily for him, it only cost him one place. Just waiting a little bit to see if we can get a couple of interviews. I do see our third place finisher, Becky B, sitting in that interview waiting room. But we'll just go over what happened in that race. So lots of action all across the track, and it didn't matter if it was for the lead of the race or if it was for 17th. The racing was just absolutely incredible, and props to all of those drivers on the grid. Wouldn't you agree, Stars?
Yeah, 100%. Everyone has really opened or performed today, I should say. Everyone's really put in, and it's great to see. It's great to see. It's great to see when you've got really tough, hard racing, but clean racing. It's very important, and it's great to see every race in MRL, or mainly every race in MRL, is very, very clean. So, what a great league to join. These drivers here obviously going to be very exhausted. I actually think it's probably one of the most demanding circuits on the track there. Wouldn't you agree, Macau? It's one of the most demanding circuits of the season is what I meant to say. Obviously, just with all those full lock corners, turn 1, turn 2, 7, 8. Yeah, it's just crazy. It just provides you and I and everybody else who's joining us, great racing.
Yeah, it certainly is one of the more technical tracks on the calendar. But now we will be joined by our third place finisher, Mr. Becky B. How did that race go for you, kind sir? Third place, still a podium finish, but it could have been a bit better with the strategies from the looks of things. How did that race go from your end of the garage?
Uh, Not too bad. I mean, obviously I hoped for more, but I think that was probably about the best I could have done with the pace I had today. Not a lot of time to practice. Got on about 2 hours before the race and with new pedals. So I was trying to get used to new pedals during the race. So it was definitely not the situation I would have hoped for, but I mean, I think I made the best of it.
Yeah, so third place. S King, however, your main championship rival, did finish one place ahead of you. So 3 points is now the gap between you two. How are you feeling heading towards Europe for Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix?
Oh, I'm feeling great. These next couple tracks coming up are definitely suited to my driving style. I really like the higher downforce circuits, Zandvoort, Spain coming up, Monaco coming up. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think I can claw some points back for sure. Hopefully take the lead.
Just one final thing from me. How has the season, the first 4 rounds, been for not only for you as a driver, but also for yourself and Yama as a team? Because it looks like it's quite a fierce battle in the constructors between yourselves and AlphaTauri.
It's been great. The chemistry's definitely been good. Yama's a good kid, good friends, and we definitely have a lot of help from race engineers, from the tier 1 guys, and even the tier 2 and 3 guys sometimes. So I think we're definitely a synchronous group, and it's definitely working out. But we got some work to do to, get that lead back in Americas.
Yes, well, again, congratulations on the third place finish. It's still a good, solid haul of points for you, and all the best next week in Zandvoort.
Thank you, thank you.
We are now joined by our race winner, Cedrus. I hope we've said that right all the stream, mate. Congratulations on the race win. Just how are you feeling after that one, sir? Nope. And he seems to have moved. Is Cedrus, you here, buddy?
Yeah, sorry. It said I didn't have permission to speak, but yeah, it was a really fun race. I am surprised about my pace. I got lucky, I think, with the pit stops, but other than that, I just drove a really good race.
Stars, you want to have any questions for our race winner here today?
Yeah, realistically, I've only got one question for you, Cedrus. You obviously did the medium to hard strategy. That was obviously, more than likely your plan going into it. When obviously you got out in front of the other drivers and you knew that you were in effective P1, what was going through your mindset there? Were you like, this is a time to push or a time to conserve? Because I did see at the end you had a lot of battery over S King, who was trying to push to get back in within that DRS range of you.
Yeah, so my main priority was just keeping S King behind, so that he wouldn't get DRS. That was what I was trying to work through to the whole race. And fortunately, I did enough just so that he wouldn't be able to push. And then by the end, I saw he had said 2 fastest laps, so I knew he was pushing. And this being China and being so hard to overtake, I just said, "All right, I'm gonna calm down on battery and save it up." And yeah, it's I knew he couldn't pass me on the back straight, so I think it was pretty easy from there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, great drive today, mate. Obviously, you're on the top step in that winners position. So well done and good luck for next week.
Thank you, appreciate it, and thanks for letting me in the league. It's been a great honor.
No worries there, mate.
More than happy to welcome in anybody.
Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that we have for today. Stars, any closing remarks before we raid a lovely member of the F1 community?
Just how great that race is, Macau. I'm looking forward to next week, the Dutch Grand Prix. Obviously, very quick track. Should be very exciting on track as well. A few battles. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Just one more thing from me. Once again, a massive, massive thank you to our partners, Next Level Racing! NLR in the chat. They got some great sim rigs for both the entry level and those enthusiasts. So be sure to check them out in the link down below, and also from the command. And yeah, we hope to see you all next week for Zandvoort. But of course, we aren't quite done with China yet. Tomorrow, at 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. Eastern Time if you're in the States, will be the Tier 2 guys around the Shanghai International Circuit, and it is shaping up to be quite the thriller, at least if it's anything like the race we just witnessed today. So that's all from us here in MRL, and we will see you all, well, say Stars and I will see you next week, but we will be back tomorrow for the Tier 2 action around Shanghai. See you later, guys.
See you guys.